Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
And a good morning to you, one and all. February 4, good morning being a hope. And I guess a salutation, but certainly not necessarily a description, okay? It is a Tuesday, February 4, and that means that my kid sister Suze is joining us. Susan, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Also, merely a salutation and not a description.
Yeah, right, exactly. Hey, just to put you in space and time, where are you? Chicago?
I am in Green Bay this morning, but I will be in Chicago by this evening.
Oh, I had you turned around. Okay. All righty. You'll be in Green Bay. I mean, you're leaving today?
Today.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Just trying to keep track.
This is a fixture in my life. Everybody I know starts any conversation with me.
Where are you?
We're having remotely with where are you?
Yeah. Well, she does ping pong. Okay. Well, Susan, yesterday I was ranting, screaming, freaking. I could do the same today, but I'm going to try to cease and desist. But what we are seeing going on, and I said this yesterday, is no different. In fact, it's more chilling than what we saw on January 6th when we watched
It's terrible.
that mob.
Yeah,
attack
we
our
are
government.
engaged in a second civil war, and the only question is when are we going to stand up and start fighting?
Yeah, when
because every day that we wait, there's less of the country to save.
It's not a matter of when, Susan. It's how. I don't.
Well, I mean,
how.
on a personal level, at least what you can do is resist every attempt that anyone makes in your direction to not do things in a legal and lawful manner. And that might not come into your world, but if you're living in Chicago and they're doing sweeps of people, you cannot let them in your door. You can always make sure you have a warrant. You can, resist. The very least that we can do is resist.
Yeah,
but I'm sitting here thinking I'm ready to stand up and be led, but there are no leaders, so we just have to.
What do we
ourselves.
do? Well, it's been suggested, and somebody suggested it yesterday, and this is certainly true. Every single one of us needs to be calling our representatives and senators literally every day, if not twice a day. They have got to feel pummeled by us. And
you need to call all of them. You need to not call just yours. You need to call the ones that don't want to hear from you.
If you've got nothing, a lot of us are retired. We don't have so much to do. We spend time doing things that, we could spend an hour a day calling, and it might be maddeningly boring, but that is something we could do. I'm going
to start calling people and just say, you folks need to remember the French Revolution. I mean, they're all sitting there thinking they're untouchable. I can guarantee you Elon Musk feels untouchable.
Yeah.
He can buy you, he can sell you, he can kill you, and nobody can touch him.
Well,
I think we need to frighten these people a little bit, and if only by showing them history. That history says that each and every one of them is going to be dead.
Did you see what happened already? Listen, Susan,
next 10 to 15 years.
Susan, we don't fight like they fight. Now, yes, there was an attempt yesterday Media immediately, and it's not the mainstream media who do it, it's always these smaller outfits. They immediately identified the 20-something tech bros that work for Musk who went into the USAID and who went
Yeah,
into.
and they should be arrested.
Well, no, it's not that. They just identified them so
Okay, so
that
they can be doxxed.
they
Okay.
put them out to the crowd. And do you know what?
The mob.
Immediately, the government, now controlled by Musk, threatened legal action. They're going after the people who unmask the identities, saying a crime has been committed. So wait, but this is
one of
never.
the things that I decided I can file a lawsuit.
Yeah, but doxing happens. I'm saying they fight back immediately.
I know, but what I'm saying is we can file lawsuits.
Fine, they're being filed.
They are going in and doing things that are illegal, and we can name Musk, we can name the government, we can.
Well, of course, but that's happening.
Fighting back.
That's happening. All of that's happening. Lawsuits are being filed left, right, and center, but we've all found out how quickly that, goes. They're being filed. It's part of Trump's game. He knows this. They know that. They don't mind the courts. They'll, they know. They know what they're doing is illegal.
Well,
they know
so
lawsuits.
The logical conclusion to what you are saying is our systems are broken. Nothing is working. So what do? We pick up a gun?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm perfectly willing to fight for my country. I'm an old lady. I'll go down fighting.
Well, this is a coup. This is a we're watching our country be destroyed. So
this is a coup, and I'm ready to engage instead of letting them just walk all over us.
Well, you could see there was an effort yesterday by some of our elected officials who went over to to USAID and demanded to be let into the locked building, which has been, it's been illegally taken, that entire agency, and shut down. Its workers, Musk actually put out on the social media that, we go in on the weekend because, and that's when they did all this stuff.
They aren't there.
Because there's no workers there. We go in, we take over. Now, speaking of Musk, he will be, and Trump's quite willing to let him be, the lightning rod, and until it no longer serves his purposes. But the fact is that Elon Musk has essentially replaced our entire constitutional system. He's now in charge, they say. He is an unelected private citizen. He and even the president has no authority whatsoever to shutter agencies created by Congress, to impound monies created by, dispersed by Congress. Everything they're doing is blatantly
illegal,
unconstitutional, illegal, and it is a coup d'etat in broad daylight. And by us sitting by and allowing Elon Musk to override our Constitution, and to see our Congress, which is in the thrall of Trump, sit there allowing it to become superfluous, they're in control of the Congress. So those Democratic congressional people can show up and demand this and that, and nobody listens to them because
you see, this is where you understand that the United States has existed because everybody agreed to the social contract that is our country.
That's right.
Now we have a president and his minions who
Don't agree.
What contract?
That's right.
They don't, fuck that.
That's right.
So, I mean, we're sitting here fighting with things that they don't even recognize as weapons. At what point do we not allow this? And I mean, I'm sorry, I don't see any, we're in a civil war. We need to stand up and fight. And I don't see any other way out of that. I know it's unhappy and nasty, but what else are we going to do?
Yeah, and here's where we as a people are so ill-suited for this responsibility that falls into our lap. All of us are soft. We have lived lives of such comfort compared to so many others in this world. You know, when you see the lives that people live in countries that don't function at all, the terror that they live with daily, the uncertainty of what will happen, what can happen. A lot of humans live with this kind of much more uncertainty than we are now facing. But they've learned how to navigate. We don't have a clue. We have never been asked to imagine the reality we're living in now. And I don't know, we're not inclined as Americans to get too uncomfortable. It's not our nature. It's not what we believe is the greatness of being an American. We are here to live comfortably and pursue happiness. I don't know
feel bad for everybody else.
I don't know that we're up to this. Up to the idea of sacrifice. We don't even have an army, a military anymore that comes from all of us. We have, created a military that is only made up of people who maybe have no other recourse or who, for some reason, like the idea of being a warrior. There is no, when you talk about like this social contract, it has been pretty much taken away. There is no sense of a communal, a communal responsibility. And that's true of that. I mean, that's true of all of us. I'm not exempting myself. We are some spoiled folks. And as such, and I think, Musk et al., Bannon, all of these people who have been dreaming this up know all this. They're assuming exactly, they figured in our reaction, which is one of, outrage and horror and wringing our hands and not knowing
not much else.
That's right. So, and I don't know, and I'm saying, you can say, what are we supposed to do? Get guns? I don't know. It has to be something that is effective, and that does require organization. And I see on the internet some people trying to start something. People saying, let's have marches in the state capitals of every state, but they're not. These kinds of things need to be truly organized so that it looks like this outpouring. I don't know. You saw a lot of immigrants yesterday attempting to do something to resist.
Yeah.
You saw a strike of immigrant-owned businesses, and I I tip my hat to them. I saw no coverage of that at all in the Washington Post or the New York Times today. I don't know. I really don't know. And speaking of coverage, here's something is again, nothing is getting there's well, flooding the zone and things don't get pointed out. I want to point out how they're going after media at a time when media is already teetering, newspapers almost non-existent. Um, some of what's happened just in the last week, you saw that the Pentagon yesterday, and this will be replicated in other agencies, all of these, cabinet, State Department, Pentagon, they have an area in their buildings that is essentially a press room. And there have always been sort of dedicated desks there for major media outlets. So the Associated Press always has a desk. The New York Times, the Washington Post, the networks have always, so that they have immediate access to information and can get it to we, the people. Well, here we go. The Pentagon's the first to do it, and they have taken away the desks of all of those mainline outlets.
Yeah.
And
not all of them.
Well, but the people who now have a desk are Breitbart News, One America,
New York Post,
One America News. Yeah, the New York Post instead of the New York Times. One America News. I mean, that makes Fox News look like MSNBC. That is who and they've said this will be on a rotating schedule. Okay, fine. It is clear that they are going to make every effort to control news. Then you have the FCC, the new chairman of the FCC, informing PBS, informing NPR that he has begun an investigation into whether or not they are illegally airing commercials. And if he finds, that would be the underwriting that they do, this program underwritten by yada, yada, yada. And some of them have started to sound a little like commercials. And he is saying, if we decide that you are doing that, doing commercial advertising, then it is quite clear that there is no real reason for your existence. Just go do commercial advertising. And he went on to say, in particular, Congress is actively considering whether to stop requiring taxpayers to subsidize public programming. So they're going to yank PBS and NPR and public stations are on death's door right now. Their federal funds are going to be taken away, and they're being told that they can't do their underwriting looks like commercials. So what's left? Just your donation, my donation, and it ain't enough. So understand that if you listen to NPR or PBS, they are in dire straits. And then the latest, have you seen, Susan, I'm sure you've noted how ABC News already paid Trump $15 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
then
then
going to hand over their interview with Kamala Harris.
No, that's CBS.
ABC,
ABC was the Stephanopoulos crapola. And
Right.
it was their way
Right.
of, yeah, okay. They gave him 15 mil. Zuckerberg gave him 25 mil. This is extortion.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's extortion. I called it blackmail yesterday, and one of the listeners, Margaret, corrected me and said it's extortion, and it is. They're all giving him this money, which he's again the grifter in chief. And all of these cases that he sued them in every instance, he sued them. These cases had next to no merit, none. Extortion. And now
Yep.
we've got CBS, the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. Trump didn't like it. There is no grounds whatsoever for this suit. And by the way, Trump sued 60 Minutes, CBS and 60 Minutes, for $10 billion,
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
accusing them of deceptively editing the interview with Harris. They did not. They edited it. This is bullshit. And lo and behold, headline yesterday, deal sought in CBS suit. And here's why. Because CBS is owned by, hard to keep track of these things, CBS is owned by Paramount. Paramount, the controlling shareholder there is Sherry Redstone, the daughter of Sumner Redstone, who recently died at the age of 502. She supports the settlement. And if she's the controlling shareholder, it appears they're going to settle. And here's why. She's trying to make a merger with another billionaire, Larry Ellison. I'm so sick of all of these people.
I just want them all to die.
I know.
We need to go back to the 91% tax rate
Yeah.
for, on funds over a certain amount.
Yeah.
This is just wrong, and we see why it's wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so Paramount wants to merge with a thing called Skydance, which is Ellison. And obviously, these kinds of mergers need government approval. And even so, she's now in favor of, I don't think giving Trump $10 billion, but settling. And also an apology. Now, the producer of 60 Minutes said, I'll apologize over, my dead body. But don't worry, things will get done. And because Paramount and CBS have broadcasting licenses doled out by the FCC, I mean, it needs the blessing of the FCC.
And this is all Ronald Reagan's fault. He's the one that just basically, he gutted it.
So, if CBS capitulates now too, it would be, count it up. You got ABC, CBS, Facebook, and Meta, and Trump is closing in on, almost $1 billion he's getting from these guys. Extortion. And there's no, and the extortion doesn't mean that they'll get what they want anyway.
No, right. Doesn't mean anything.
No. So this is what's happening.
They'll just come back and ask for more.
Yeah. And here's something else I've thought about. I know a lot of people are saying, I can't handle this. I've tuned out. I want to say that seemed like something we could do for a little while. Time's up. Time's up. If you don't want to be part of the capitulation,
no, you're fiddling while
part of the problem.
Fiddling while Rome burns, guys.
If you don't want to behave as Trump and Musk and the others are assuming you will behave by being overwhelmed, by being freaked out, by being frightened, then, just playing right into their game plan. As Susan said, we've got to be all about constant resistance and vigilance. There is no doubt about that. I was thinking about what's the difference now, the way the United States, a very imperfect country to be sure, but with ideals that were laudable and that often we tried to reach or move toward. And I, in that respect, was often proud to be an American. How we didn't use our power globally quite as outrageously as some. Now, I know some will argue with me on everything I'm saying now, but we use soft power a lot. Trump is absolutely destroying all of that. That's where he went after USAID. That's a soft power arm of the government. But let's look at the Ukraine-Russia war. The outrage over that war was a country, Russia, just walking into another nation and saying, we want it. It's ours. That was the global outrage. Now, here's Trump.
Which is what Trump is doing. He's
saying,
coveting Canada,
with Greenland,
Mexico, Greenland.
No, Greenland, more specifically, he has not ruled out military force to take Greenland from Denmark and to take the Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal, yes.
Yeah. And yeah, Mexico, Canada, who knows? It doesn't matter. And then there's what's our fears in terms of setting off a world war? China has been mumbling and grumbling and trying to assert its authority in the Asia Pacific realm and fully intends to take back one of our allies, Taiwan. Now, if we're going into Greenland, that means Taiwan is off the table. We are behaving no differently than China and Russia. Now, there is no difference. We're just another big, ugly, and I know some, especially on the left, will say that's what we've always been. But I would argue there was something we had that was different and manifested itself on some occasions, okay? But we lose all now, even the pretense of any moral authority in the world. I was even wondering, is it conceivable that this is also in the back of their head saying, if we make America look like this awful place, then immigrants won't want to come here?
Nah, I don't think that. No,
I don't think so either.
There's too many steps to that plan.
Oh, God. So I remember saying the idea of Trump winning was unimaginable to me. And now that it's happened, what he's doing, it seems unimaginable as well. But
yeah, every day it's on it. What do you mean he did that? What do you mean he did that? I mean, it's like
he's doing it. It's happening.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I mean, it was like a week ago. I said, how do we sue the government for treason?
Yeah.
And that was a week ago.
We've got a caller here. Hello.
Yesterday I was listening and I was about to just turn you off and slit my wrists, and then Rich called,
God
and
bless.
it sort of brought me out of my doldrums for a little bit. But you guys are working me up to it again. But
I'm sorry, but we aren't trying to depress you. We're trying to mobilize you.
What are we supposed to do?
I know.
See, that's what I'm saying about we're soft. What are we
that.
supposed to do? Not talk about it because people get upset?
No, you're right. I do appreciate what you're offering, because I'm like, as you're talking, I'm like, I get a million texts say, oh, Obama just spoke the truth and this and that. Please donate to the Democratic Party. I ain't donating shit to the Democratic Party.
I agree.
I feel like I'd just be throwing my money down the drain.
I agree.
Honestly.
They need to stop. They need to stop
that.
asking us for money. I am so sick of it. And fucking do something. Stand up.
I mean, if you can't beat a fascist, you're pretty pathetic, And the best you can do is maybe trot out an old white guy who's safe for all of us to vote for. You might also just go away. I mean, honestly, and I think we all know this, when the fairness doctrine went away and Citizens United, that Supreme Court decision, we just an avalanche just started, and I don't know how you stop it.
Well,
it's I mean, honestly, when you say French Revolution, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, my wife and I are talking about, because we don't know shit about firearms, for example, but it's like, well, in the house for self-defense, we'll use a shotgun because the bullets won't penetrate the walls and kill somebody or kill our neighbor. But we'll need this type of weapon if we're going to be out in the open. And it's like, that's not us. No. But does it need to be?
I think it needs to be. I'm back to seriously considering, that I'm going to arm myself. I can't be sure that people aren't going to come for me, and I'm not going to make it easy for them to take me. And I'm not going to be afraid to imagine where this is going, because this is where it's going. And I'm telling you, it's them or us. And I intend for it to be them.
Robert F. Kennedy's nomination has cleared the committee and will go to the full Senate.
I'm just gonna throw up.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How come very rich, only conservative rich people buy media?
That's a good question. Cuban? That's a good question. And
where's Warren Buffett? Where are all these guys?
Well, I had
come on.
Yeah, I had a friend who said, where's, the only one, the billionaire that seems to be totally on our side is Mark Cuban. And he has done so much good stuff. And she was saying, Mark Cuban, stand up. You need to get together with a few other billionaire buddies. And he's small potatoes, though, compared to these other guys. Small potatoes. But yeah. We don't own that stuff. We don't.
So
but that's been that way for a long time. Lynn Cullen was chased out of radio by conservative media, buying the stations one after another.
That is, we all recognize that, and that's. It's the lawsuits, because I got a gazillion dollars. You only have maybe a few billion, so I'm just going to sue the shit out of you till you run out of money, and that. So you're going to capitulate, and you're going to hey, let's plea, and that's what's happening with these lawsuits from Trump. It's just the bullies are winning, yep. And I don't think I don't think there's any rules to win by for us anymore.
No, there aren't, because those very lawsuits were in fact illegal. They're called slap suits and are, by their definition, illegal. But if everybody just goes, oh, and gives up and doesn't even say, hey, buddy, that's illegal, then, what are you going to do?
Well, what I was saying yesterday is illegal doesn't mean anything if
it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything because
rule of law anymore.
Right, the Supreme Court, as I said, even this Supreme Court could tell Trump, hey, you can't do this. And what are they going to do when Trump says, well, tough luck, I am doing it? What are they going to do?
And even so, I mean, he had this first 4 years where he got significant judge appointments, plus the Supreme Court, and he's going to have another 4 years, and so he can claim he's playing by the rules because these people will
not rule by the they won't be a fair judiciary. Correct.
So maybe it does come down to it. My wife, her favorite saying is, let's shoot their balls off.
Mine too.
Okay.
That's exactly where I'm aiming.
Yeah, let's move. Okay, let's move on. Hey, thank you. Appreciate the call.
All righty, bye-bye. Have a good day.
I like your wife. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Her name's Susan.
Milton,
sure.
Milton has said it's not much, but as a small catharsis, I have now posted the following names on my Facebook page. These are the ones that they're threatening to take action against people who do this. Perhaps you may derive some small feeling of resistance by saying their names on your show. Here we go. Elon Musk is claiming it's a crime to publish or put out the names of the jerk engineers, these kids who work for him, who now have access to all of our personal information, all of it, and the information of the entire nation's treasury and contracts and money. And they're holding all of it. And we're not supposed to say their names, these kids who were not elected to anything and have illegally accessed that information. Here they are: Akash Boba, Edward Korestein, Luke Ferrito, Gautier Cole Killian, Gavin Kleiger, and Ethan Chautran, or something to that effect. And fuck every one of them. I hope they're run out of town. Unfortunately, they're on the winning.
Lynn, would you forward that email to me so that I can post that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're on the winning team right now. Let's get a little bit of
resistance going. As petty as there is no thing too small. Put a pebble in every shoe. Let's do it.
I just want to get a breath, point out one piece of good news. Andrea Mitchell's last day on MSNBC is Friday.
Oh my God, it's only 4 years too late.
20 years too late. Whatever. Thank God.
But no, this last year, she really, I understand that people don't always recognize when they've just stayed too long, but she couldn't find her words for the last year.
I know. Embarrassing.
It was painful. They were very loyal to her, but at some point you ought to say, I'm taking up airspace. I should go now.
And if she's already, she goes home to her husband, who's got to be 20 years older than her, Alan Greenspan, the former head of the Fed. He's got to be 150.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what a scintillating dinner table, eh?
Russ writes, I wonder if the gun manufacturers are salivating at the thought of the left arming themselves.
Right. A whole new, the untapped resource.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. There's a ton of left that is very well armed and don't think they aren't.
the gun stuff.
I am one of the few people that I know of among a lot of lefters that doesn't have a gun.
Okay, well, I ain't going to. Anyway, what else do I have? Oh, here's something else for laughs and giggles. Since Kennedy has now gotten out of committee, the next vote up today is Tulsi Gabbard, of course, to direct our national intelligence.
I mean, they're just so open about putting assets in charge of our secrets. You know, it's amazing to me. She's a foreign asset.
My God, it's just mind-blowing. Anyway, I came upon this little tidbit about her. Oh, Laura, thank you. Laura writes, Andrea Mitchell is 78?
No.
Yeah, Laura does do, yeah, okay. She's 78, and I was right, 20, and Alan Greenspan is 98. Okay. Yeah, he married some young stuff back in the day.
Well,
and he still thinks
she needs to work out or something. She does not.
No, she weighs about 45 pounds, and
Yeah,
most of the weight is her head. I mean,
her head. I know her body has just disappeared, and it's all just
like
head.
So many women who think there's, whatever. And Milton says Greenspan turns 99 in 2 months, next month. Well, good for Alan. Anyway, Tulsi Gabbard. So she's been trying to, quash some of her bio. She was brought up in this cult. Actually, they call it supposedly a Hindu sect called the Science of Identity Foundation or something. I don't know. But she's got a campaign out there trying to mask the connection between her and this outfit. And former followers have called the Science of Identity a cult. Listen to this. Saying it demands that its adherents demonstrate absolute loyalty. Well, that's why she's well suited for this administration. She's been part of a religion that taught her absolute loyalty. Its adherents demonstrate absolute loyalty to their founder, a guy named Chris Butler, by putting his toenail clippings in their food.
None of this is making my stomach feel any better, Lynn.
You can't make it up. It's grotesque. I know. It's disgusting. I know. God. Dear God in heaven. So, I don't know. I've got other stuff here. Can we get away from this for just a sec?
Please. Did you watch the Grammys?
Yeah. It's always interesting, isn't it? And there was some incredible voices, and some I didn't.
But I watched just to make sure that I was right about this. The men do all wear down coats and hoods to perform, and the women
are naked.
Particularly, a few women are just totally naked.
Yeah, I know.
And I would like to just say to those women, please stop it. You just look foolish. Just stop it.
No, they don't look foolish. They look like they. Are you kidding?
They look like they're walking around naked, pretending like they have clothes on.
Yeah,
but they ridiculous.
But they got these beautiful bodies.
I don't care. Then walk around naked.
Well, You just sound like some old lady, Sue. Sorry.
I sound like an old fogey. I absolutely get it, but I just I just think that there's something wrong with the culture that makes it right for women to walk around naked while the men cover under several layers.
Well, Billie Eilish doesn't do it.
No, she doesn't, and she doesn't in response to all that crap.
Yeah. So, Gigi writes, here's my suggestion, inspired by one of your callers. Don't just delete those fundraising emails. Respond. Call, write, or email and tell them they don't get a cent unless they start taking action. I contacted Jeffries and AOC this week after they sent fundraising emails. I'll contact them every day if I have to. Friends of mine are doing the same. Pummel them. Good. Good. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Here's a caller. Hello.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
I am really just stunned by the vote to clear Robert F. Kennedy, and
why are you stunned?
I'm certain Tulsi.
Why?
Because
stunned?
If any nominee could be voted down by the Republican Congress, who are apparently willing to just be, Politburo quislings.
But that's the point.
To a geriatric, clearly mentally deficient, old con artist and convicted criminal.
Yeah, but exactly. That's
the point.
I mean, they were at least willing. They were willing to deny Gates a position.
Yeah, because they personally didn't like him. I mean, Gates. The reason they did that to Gates was because he was the single most hated person in Congress, and they weren't going to do that. But at this point, I think
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's clearly a kook. He's not only a kook.
Doesn't matter.
His personal behavior is.
They don't care. That is the point. The point is, we can put up the biggest clown, and these guys will do what we say. And you need to learn that lesson. That we can make the people in control do whatever we say, and the first way to prove it is that we're going to make them elect all of these. We're going to make them ratify all of these totally incompetent and inappropriate choices for cabinet.
I understand. Certainly that the Republicans are a lawless party, and they have no respect for the Constitution, and they want to rule. They don't want to be participants in a free republic. They don't want to govern. They want to rule. But by acceding to this and to these nominees, they are essentially, most of them are deciding, you know what, we really don't want to rule. We want to be servitors. We want to be sycophants. And we're willing to be sycophants in a banana republic, in a nation that will be driven to third world status. Because you're correct. Tulsi Gabbard is a foreign asset. She's a Russian asset. It's clear. Robert F. Kennedy, under his policies, if you can call them that, will be a sicker. We will be a sicker nation. We will be a more disease-ridden nation. Peter Hegseth, aside from ideological purges of, black people, brown people, liberals, and LGBTQ people from army leadership, he has no business. He'll be an incompetent at running the military. Our military will decline in strength.
Well, of course.
I guess they're committed to turning us into a second or third-rate power.
I think they're readying us to be taken over by either Russia or China.
They want to destroy us. They want to destroy us. They were quite clear about that. They were going to destroy what they call the deep state, which is a synonym for the government.
The United States of America.
And the voters put them in. Unbelievable. Yeah. Can you imagine in Beijing and the Kremlin? I mean, they must be beside themselves with
Whooping it
delight.
up.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
the
Unbelievable.
Kremlin is putting up good luck Gabby, Tulsi Gabbard stuff.
Now, if
I mean,
she's the one who I think might not make it. It'll be like one vote, but it is conceivable she doesn't make it. And in part, it's because, like Kennedy, was a Democrat. I think that gives some, and a woman.
Right. They at least had some plausible they had plausible deniability for voting down both Kennedy and potentially Gabbard.
Mhm.
They were both liberal Democrats. Both at Kennedy at one time was very staunchly,
He was a major
pro-choice.
environmentalist. He was an
Yeah,
environmentalist.
and and Gabbard has been all over the place, but Gabbard had from what I know, had cultivated no friends on either side of the aisle.
Yeah. Well, the news, Gabbard's fate will be known soon enough before the sun sets. Our fate, I'm afraid, is increasingly looking like it's sealed as well. Hey, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. God help us. Susan, did you happen to see the Washington Post piece on that couple? They're the big natalist couple on the right.
Oh, I saw it and I didn't read it. I started to get the hives just seeing the headline, and I rushed on.
Uneffing believable. For one thing, there's a picture that starts out, and the wife. They're in Pennsylvania. God help us. And the wife is dressed like a handmaiden. She's got the bonnet on.
Yes,
and
that's what I saw. That
Yep.
she's dressed with a handmaiden's
But
hat and everything, and I thought, no, I'm not reading.
You know
this,
what
no.
though, Susan? Turns out her husband asked her to wear that precisely to piss off you and me. They're very aware. They like to troll the left. And he said, wear your handmaiden hat when the Post comes. They're wealthy. They are educated. They are both on the spectrum. The way they have their children.
Well, everybody's on the spectrum.
Oh, they really are. This is how they believe that like Musk. Musk is one of these too. He's tight with J.D. Vance. That depopulation is as big a problem as it's bigger than global warming, and we have got to start having babies. So this woman she's pregnant again. It's her 6th pregnancy since 2019. And listen to this. She approaches each pregnancy the way an athlete does a marathon. She and her husband wait exactly 9 months since the birth of their last child to give her body time to recover. She then goes through a barrage of exams, starting with a hysteroscopy and a uterine biopsy and detailed blood work. She then takes hormone medication necessary for transferring a frozen embryo into her uterus. The reason they use IVF is not because they can't get pregnant any other way. It's because they choose their embryos.
Oh God, I'm gonna.
They
everything
test them
today. Everything you are bringing up makes me nauseous.
It's a kind of eugenics. She exercises at home, walking for hours on a treadmill she keeps at her desk, and eats plain yogurt, hard-boiled eggs, and a mush of blended vegetables. Get this. And when it's time to give birth, she has a C-section. Every one of her children, except the first, is a C-section. And with each surgery, the risk of future complications, including death, increases. But she intends to do this. She's 37, 3 more times. Ideally, she wants 10 children. They have 32 embryos left. And she says, I'm happy to die in labor. Her husband says, yes, it's objectively dangerous what she's doing. When she says she's a pro-natalist, she's putting her life on the line in service of her beliefs.
Well, bully for her.
Unbelievable.
There's a lot of Orthodox women that feel exactly the same way, but they just do it the old-fashioned way quite successfully.
Yeah. Incredible. Just frigging incredible. And then on the other side, there was an Atlantic story today about how the ultra rich and the tech bros are into sex parties and orgies. And you want to creep yourself out. Read that article.
Right.
There are these organizations, mostly in New York and LA, and you belong to them. There's memberships, which are pricey. And they give you, here there's one called NSFW, which stands for the New Society for Wellness. They have more than 10,000 members. And these are some, high-end CEOs, politicians, celebrities, and beauty counts. Members are not just rich and influential, they are beautiful, I bet, particularly the women. Men don't have to be.
Men get a pass.
Beautiful women at many parties are eligible for reduced price or free admission.
Well, that's been a staple at bars for years.
These aren't bars.
I know, but what part about Sean Diddy Combs don't they get?
I'm trying to Silicon Valley. Okay. So, Silicon Valley technocrats who live by the ethos of move fast and break things are really into this. The guy who invented the hashtag, wasn't he from here, guys? CMU? I'm just asking. Chris Messina has described non-monogamy as nothing more or less than a design solution. Here's his quote. Out here, we're data positive and solution oriented. And if your product, for instance, marriage, is failing 50% of your customers, then you need to fix it or offer something better.
Callow youth.
Huh? Unbelievable. A shrink who specializes in
unbelievable.
This is from the Atlantic. A shrink who specializes in working with the very wealthy says he sees a lot of patients who just feel like they're bored, they're numb, they've flown on the private planes, they've eaten at the best restaurants, what else is there? And then some of this then gets transferred into high-risk behavior, kink sexual behavior, because they're bored. They want more. And he said,
Well, if what you think is that accumulating wealth is what it's all about, then when you get it, of course you're bored.
yeah.
But if you just understand that money is a tool, then when you have it, you use it. You don't get bored with it. It's your life. Figure out what to do with it. Ugh.
The author of the article says, she hung out at some of these clubs and it was to do the report, and she says, I came to see the people in them as deeply sad, if not sort of afflicted with a snobby form of cynicism. These are the rich. They are in power.
Well, I mean, they're the people that used to be portrayed lying on their fainting couches with their hand hanging.
Well, they're still lying.
You're
They're still
rich.
lying on the couches. They're still lying on the couches, but they're not fainting. They're fucking. So there's that. Sorry, guys. We live in a hellscape in every way. And these horrific people are.
Well, we're describing, Roman Empire before the fall.
Mm-hmm. It all computes.
Yes, it does.
I'm data driven
and that's
too.
why I don't understand why those particular people don't get that it's always over and over and over and over again ended badly for their types.
Yeah, Laura writes about the people who
eventually it
does.
Right,
we got it. We're done here. Laura writes about the guy, the toenail clippings. I hope he didn't have toenail fungus. And Barbara writes, Susan Collins, yeah, I saw this, has said she's voting for Tulsi. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Just wonderful.
Susan Collins always votes in lockstep. I don't know why anybody is surprised by her anymore. She says all the right things and then she votes wrong.
I'd like Lisa Murkowski to
She's done it for years.
Come over to the Democrats. But the Democrats are so totally unappetizing that I can see why no one wants to join them. Going down. Okay, we're done. Safe travels, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye. And guys, that's it. We're done. I'm sorry. I mean, I know this is not going to, the thing is, I'm sure people are tuning out because they don't want to listen. But as I said, fine, don't listen to me, but don't tune out. Do not. Stakes are too high.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.